Okay, so this is a subject I've been wanting to touch on because I hear a lot of people, men and women, and yeah, this is dealing with relationships, and I hear a lot of men and women, with the same logic or the same excuses, if I could use, about why it's the next person's fault for when they have a failed relationship. I don't even really see it as a failed relationship because I think, just being, I just look at things a little different than a failed situation or successful marriage and all that there. But what I do want to speak, what I do want to speak on is how, you know, both men and women, I see this is when they got when a failed relationship or something go wrong in the relationship, and how they automatically blame the next person. Now, it ain't the fact that they blame; it's the fact that they're convinced that blaming the next person or pointing out everything they did, the person they allowed in their life, the person, what they did, the person they allowed in their life, is how they deem them as being the one that's guilty. And see, it ain't no. If you allow somebody in your life, if you marry somebody, then you have to take, whether you want to or not, you are responsible for what happened in that relationship. Whether it's on you or on whether you initially did something or they intentionally did something or whatever. At the end of the day, you gonna be held liable because you're connected to this person. Excuse me. You connected to this person, so it ain't no sense. The way I can tell when I'm dealing with somebody who done really learned their lesson or understand that, or just don't got no bitterness in them, is how they handle the situation afterwards. It's one thing to a relationship didn't succeed or it didn't do like they would have hoping it would do, thrive long or whatever. That's one thing, but it's another thing to when you have a so-called failed relationship or failed relationship, and then you take it to the internet and you talk about how this person did this and this and this and this, and it's basically their fault. Saying it's basically their fault, and then people might pat you on the back or have sympathy for you, act like they got sympathy for you, but at the end of the day, you gonna be the one that had to go through that. You the one got the so-called failed relationship, and you the one got to deal with the heartache and everything that come with that. Your kids gotta suffer or go through that. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't no sense in pointing the finger at them. But what I wanted to speak about is how people don't be realizing how they got a lot of influence on their spouse. Even I know that's a whole person, and you can't make a person stay, and they saying all this, like this is the talk. You know what I'm saying? They take two to make it work. And I get what they saying, but at the end of the day, you allow this person in your life. For the best of your ability and your knowledge, you saw that this person was fit for you, and you accepted them. Now, that's one thing if it don't succeed, if the relationship fail. But to get online or just to point the finger at the woman or the man for it not thriving, it's crazy. Like it's actually show you that you ain't accountable. That you're not taking no accountability. You not, as if you ain't responsible. It actually show immaturity. And I see this in men and women. And that's what fuel. That's how these men versus women and all this issue back and forth. This is how it started. A bunch of people that never really resolve the trauma or the situation properly. They totally put all their trust in the person. And I get it. You love this person. I get it. You know what I'm saying? I understand. But to somebody who really in tune with what's going on, they not going to really spread all their hurt to the world. Because what it looked like is you saying this person did me wrong, but the whole time you allow these people in your life. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta take some responsibility for that. Like, if this person is so much of a bad person, or she this or he that, but or they trash or whatever, but you allow them in your life. So that's like, if you allow trash in your life, then what did that say about you? You like the freaking trash man or the trash woman, right? So, at the end of the day, it comes down to shame on you. And it's actually embarrassing. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing, like I say, it's one thing when you go through a thing and you could keep that to yourself, or just to a couple people you want to open up and tell them the situation, you was hurt. That's understandable. But to take this to the world, online, the World Wide Web, and just express this and point the fingers, you it really just don't show maturity. You know what I'm saying? Unless you got accountability in what you express, and how it make you a better person, and how you can learn from the situation, then you just spewing that out there. They spewing that out there, but what they're really doing is they igniting something that's going. It's speaking from bitterness. That's why you can't really cheat life. You can't try to say stuff on the sly and don't think it's going to be of any effect. And like, even like the scriptures say, like, I don't know how to go. Maybe I'll put it up here, but it's like, the word ain't gonna come to you. The word ain't gonna go out void, or something like that. Every word, everything you say, it's gonna produce. You know what I'm saying? So when you put stuff out there, it's gonna land on some ears. Now, a lot of bitter people can resonate with you when you speak in bitterness, and this is what creates, I guess, like, groups or whatever of people that come together and they trauma bond, and I think that's what they call it, like trauma bonding, a bitter bond. It's like, we bonding only because we both went through this hardship, and it don't be nothing good for that, because people that ain't bitter, they don't want no parts of that. They understand that at the end of the day, it's my fault. I gotta move better. And it's sad, you can't trust people. I don't know if we just totally should trust people in the first place, but if you getting in a relationship when you totally trusting that this person gonna be perfect, or just not get out of line, then maybe you shouldn't even get in a relationship. And I know it's some stuff like sleeping around or they cheating or whatever. I get it. That could be terrible, but at the end of the day, it's all for a lesson learned. I'm not saying that happened. I'm saying you're supposed to learn from these situations. Like, people claim to want to, be the generational curse breaker. Well, the people who letting the curse go on is the people who take that hurt. When they get hurt, they take that same hurt and they put it in the world, and they ain't changed. They just sharing it with everybody. Like, they regurgitate, they just spread, they hurt them, so they're not even finna go hurt the next person. You know what I'm saying? You keeping the generational curse going. But a curse breaker, when they get to them, okay, this is where it stopped. They was angry. They say hurt people, but what they don't speak about is that heal people also heal people. So if somebody hurt me, then this is what I'm going to do. This is where it stops at. If they hurt me, this is where it stops. I'm not going to hurt nobody else. I'm going to learn from this situation. I'm going to take that hurt, because I can't do nothing about it no way. Whether I try to talk bad or go against them, I'm still hurting. So I might as well take that hurt, and this is where the hurt stops. I'm not finna go hurt the next person because they hurt me. That person didn't do nothing to me. All they do is just show that you're unhealed, And it's sad, and go to what I was initially wanting to speak about, is that people don't want to take no accountability how they allow certain people in their life. Now, they'll go out in the world after they done been hurt, and then they find people, and they can't see. They see, when you go through certain hurts and stuff in your life, you supposed to learn from that. You supposed to make all the BS stop right here. I'm not finna be bitter to the next person. Ain't gonna let nobody break me, allow nobody to break me like that. Well, now I'm a bitter person. I'm a vessel for the devil at this point. Nah, you take that strength and you learn from that, and you learn how to pay attention. So when you pay attention, then when you start back dating again, when you got you right, now you know how to identify things in people. You could see, you ain't gonna always know everything about a person, but it's a way to know enough about a person to see if this person got morals, or this person is just, they operating out of bitterness and just hatred of what happened to them in the past. And you can avoid these people. But if you don't know the difference, if you don't got no discernment on knowing who's who, then more than likely it's a high possibility that you're gonna get involved with somebody. If you out there trying to date, it's a high possibility that you're gonna get involved with somebody who just the same thing. It's just a different person, but the same old bitterness. You know what I'm saying? Because you ain't learned, and you don't even know how to identify this in people, because you're not healed yourself. So yeah. So whenever you go through something, the best thing to do is just deal with it. Take that opportunity, that hurt, and create something out of that hurt. It's the reason, like, people be constantly in these relationships. I see it all the time. People back home or whatever, or just people I've seen online for so many years. We might be friends through social media, and it's like they in and out of these relationships. And I understand you can't know everything about a person, but with that being understood, that you can't know everything about a person, that means you should be cautious. If you marry or if you want to take somebody serious, you should already know you can't trust everybody, or you can't put everything on one person. And with that being said, you have to tell yourself, you should tell yourself, like, okay, if I get with this person, I know I can't trust people to the fullest. I'm just saying that I know I can't expect people not to make mistakes. And if I truly believe this, that means when a mistake happens, I can't be so surprised in my spirit to myself. Now, of course, you're going to speak on it, but how can you be surprised on something that you know was just bound to happen, So, anyway, when you get to know a person, just get to know them for what it is, for who they is. And if your knowledge only allows you to know so much about a person, if you feel comfortable to be with a person, to take it to the next, say y'all gonna get married or whatever, if you feel like you're ready, then when you get out there, like, marriage is real serious. So when you get out there and you decide, okay, I'm finna marry this person, whether a man or a woman, or I'm just saying, whether a man marrying a woman or a woman marrying a man, when it's like that, you just gotta say, look, okay, cool, whatever come with this person, I'm gonna be with this. I want this person in my life, and we finna get through whatever. Cause from what I've seen after dating this person and vetting this person, I like this person. I love this person. I want to be together with them forever, or whatever. In the long run, have children, have a family, and you can't let one situation throw you off. Cause it's like, well, damn, I thought, like, people be like, well, damn, I thought this person wouldn't do nothing like that. So if you can't tell a person wouldn't do nothing like that, let's say you get out that relationship and you don't know, you like, well, damn, my last relationship or last two relationships or whatever, I didn't know this person would hurt me like that. I didn't know they could even do something like that. That means you don't understand the nature of people. It ain't just the nature of women or men, it's the nature of people. And when you understand that, then you're gonna know, you're gonna get a little more understanding. You're gonna be so less to point the finger at a person, because you're not gonna be surprised. But if you feel like that's something that you just cannot handle whatsoever, then I'm going to say this here. If you feel like you cannot handle nobody betraying you, or nobody ever doing you work or doing you harm or making a mistake, then I just got to say, maybe marriage is not for you. So it ain't no sense of jumping online and spewing all this. Just marriage just ain't for you. They should just accept that, All right.